If one more person tells me I took the easy way out, I'm going to hand them my BSG scar, my injection pen, and let them decide what's easy. The content in this video is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I am a nurse practitioner sharing my own personal health journey. I am not your nurse practitioner. My experience is not a substitute for any professional medical advice. Always consult your own licensed healthcare provider before making any changes to your medications, your diet, or your health. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm Fallon, a nurse practitioner, and I'm navigating perimenopause. It's almost been 7 weeks into my Mounjaro journey, and I'm a post-BSG patient about 10 years out. And today I'm putting on both hats, my clinical and my patient hat, to dismantle the myths that I hear constantly from strangers on the internet and from people in my own life. And honestly, sometimes from people who should know better. Stay until myth 4, because this one even medical providers get wrong. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I want to say something clearly. The stigma around medication-assisted weight loss is real, it is exhausting, and it keeps people from getting the help that they actually deserve. I've spent years on the clinical side of this conversation. I've counseled patients, I've read the data, and now I'm sitting on the other side of the exam table, injecting myself every week, navigating appetite changes with a stomach the size of a banana, because of BSG, dealing with hot flashes and hormonal chaos, and trying to figure out what healthy at this stage of life really looks like for me. That dual perspective, it changes things. So let's bust 5 myths with science, clinical context, and with receipts from someone who's actually living this in real time. Let's start with the one that really makes my blood pressure go up, the easy way out. First of all, let me tell you what's not easy. Injecting yourself every week, a medication shortage that means your prescription may not be available for you, insurance denials, oh, don't get me started on insurance, prior authorizations, and fighting your own doctor to be taken seriously. That is what's actually happening. And here's the clinical truth about all of that. Mounjaro doesn't work on willpower. It corrects a hormonal and neurological dysregulation. Tirezepatide, which is the umbrella in which Mounjaro and Zepbound fall under, targets both GIP and GLP-1 receptors. It changes how our brain processes hunger, how our gut responds to food, and how our pancreas manages insulin. This is not a shortcut. This is medicine correcting a biological deficit. We would never tell a diabetic that insulin is the easy way out. We would never tell someone with hypothyroidism that taking Synthroid is a choice. So why is this different? And here's my specific situation. I already had bariatric surgery. My stomach is permanently altered. I cannot eat a full meal like I used to. I have restrictions built in, and I still needed additional support. Because weight management isn't just about anatomy and hormones. It's about metabolism. It's about a perimenopausal body that is actively working against weight loss in ways that surgery cannot fix alone. Easy would be if it fixed everything overnight and I didn't have to do any work. Easy would be if insurance covered it and I didn't have to worry at all. Easy would be if people stopped questioning your medical decisions every time you sit down and have dinner. Okay, I hear this one constantly, and I want to be honest with you. There is a kernel of truth here, but the myth gets the cause completely wrong. GLP-1s do not eat your muscle. What causes muscle loss is a caloric deficit combined with inadequate protein intake, combined with sedentary lifestyle. So no resistance training and not enough protein. The medication suppresses your appetite, which means it becomes very easy to accidentally undereat protein. That's the real risk. and it's manageable and fixable. Here's what I personally do to protect my own muscle mass. I try to hit my protein target of 125 grams of protein daily, and I try to hit it every single day. Even on days when my appetite is non-existent, I reach for easy, high-protein foods. I do resistance training 4 days a week. This is not optional, and this is non-negotiable. And I track my food not to restrict what I'm eating, but to make sure that I'm actually getting enough of the right things in my daily intake. Now, here's where perimenopause and menopause adds another layer onto this. After 40, estrogen declines, and it naturally increases our risk for sarcopenia. What's sarcopenia? Age-related muscle loss. Okay, so this is not something to panic about or use as a reason to even avoid the medication or not take it. It is something to be strategic about. The answer isn't fear of the medication. The answer is protein, resistance training, and awareness. Again, Mounjaro doesn't eat your muscles. Neglecting protein and skipping strength training does. The medication just makes it easier to accidentally undereat, so we have to be intentional. Okay, number 3. This one really frustrates me because it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how chronic diseases work. Obesity is a chronic, complex, progressive metabolic condition. It is recognized by the American Medical Association, the World Health Organization, and virtually every major medical body. And chronic conditions often require chronic management. We don't shame people for being on long-term blood pressure medication. We don't shame people for staying on antidepressants for years that work for them. We don't tell people with autoimmune conditions to just eat better and stop their biological process. Here's what the data says. Many people do regain weight after stopping GLP-1 medications. This is not a character flaw. This is biology. For many of us, our bodies simply do not produce enough adequate GLP-1 signaling on their own. So the medication comes in and fills a gap. Once the medication is removed, the gap returns. Is long-term use the right choice for everyone? That's a conversation between you and your provider. But dependency as a moral judgment? No. That framing is really harmful and it needs to stop. Tirezepatide, the active compound in Mounjaro, is not a diet pill. It is not phentermine. It is not a stimulant. It is a dual GLP-1 receptor agonist. That means it works on 2 separate hormonal pathways in the body. These pathways regulate blood sugar, insulin secretion, gastric emptying, and satiety, I always say that wrong, signaling in the brain. The mechanism is genuinely sophisticated, and the clinical trial data on cardiovascular outcomes and metabolic markers is significant. Now, anyone can get it. I almost laugh out loud when I hear these comments, because let me tell you what's actually happening out there. There are shortages. There are insurance denials. There are prior authorizations that take weeks to approve by the insurance company. There are providers who won't prescribe it unless you meet specific BMI criteria. There are patients paying over thousands of dollars a month out of pocket because their insurance company considers it cosmetic. In my experience, the people I see working hardest to access this medication are not out here living carefree, effortless lives. They're fighting their own biology, their insurance company, and the internet simultaneously. That is not anyone can get it. That is a systemic access problem that we all should be talking about. Number 5, and here it is, the one. The one every single person in this community has heard more times than they can count. Just eat less and move more. Let me tell you something. I have 2 master's degrees, multiple nursing licenses, 2 board certifications, and I've spent my career helping patients manage their health. I have a surgically altered digestive system that permanently limits how much I can eat. I understand nutrition. I understand physiology. And I've been eating less and moving more in various forms for years, decades. Here's what is the problem, clinically speaking: metabolic adaptation. Set point theory. You may have heard of it. It's when your body has been defending a higher weight for years and will actively slow down your metabolism, increase your hunger hormones, increase the food noise, and decrease satiety signals to get back to that weight. For me, I will be honest, I believe it's somewhere around 250, 245. My body will fight to get back there no matter what I do, even after VSG. These are documented physiological responses, and this is not a failure of discipline at all. I'm a very disciplined person in all areas of my life, but could not tackle this. Now you add perimenopause to the mix for me, for us over 40. Estrogen decline drives visceral fat production and accumulation, meaning all the fat growing around our organs. Cortisol dysregulation, which is that stress hormone. Insulin resistance, and sleep disruption that further wrecks your hunger hormones. The hormonal environment of perimenopausal women is working against weight loss in multiple directions all at once. And for some of us, there's a genuine GLP-1 deficiency. Our bodies simply don't produce the satiety signals that tell us we're full. That food noise that quiets on Mounjaro, for many of us, was just life. We thought everyone felt that way. I did. I didn't even understand I had food noise, which I've talked about in my prior videos. We don't or didn't know that it wasn't normal to be thinking about food all the time. Look, if any of this hit differently for you today, I see you. I know some of the comments have come from people you love. I know some of them have come from people wearing a white coat. And I know how much some of those things can sting. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are not cheating. You are a person navigating a complex biological reality with the best tools available. And that deserves respect from others and from yourself. I want to hear from you. Which of these myths have you heard the most? Which one hurt coming from someone specific? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And I want this to be a space where we can be real with each other. If this video helped you feel less alone, please share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear it, someone going through their own GLP journey. Post it for a person in your life who still doesn't get it. Because information is how we change the conversation. Next week, I'll be back with a week 8 update. We're going to talk about low effort meals, what I eat in a week, my updated stats, and I'm bringing the receipts. So you don't need to miss it. Subscribe, like, share. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week.